Chat, we go. It's the road to 100,000 subscriber invitational. So use this as your sign to subscribe to the YouTube. If you haven't yet, we have that counter up there, 90,785. Might not have moved much since the last time you watched a YouTube video, but that's because these matches are all happening back to back to back live. We could use your support there if you're watching back on the VOD, or if you watch on the Twitch exclusively, maybe go drop a sub. But either way, we have a big match. It's Chronic versus Diaz. Chronic 2-0, Diaz 2-0. Winner of this puts themselves at the top of the gauntlet and looking down at everybody else. So not only that, it guarantees them at minimum $400. So you could argue $400 on the line for this best of 5 between Chronic and Diaz. Chronic up 2-0, but Mr. Kachow himself, rocking the Octane, going to open up his own scoring. Diaz has been playing some of the best ones on USD servers we have seen. This happened before. He is not the first South American to look like the best 1v1er in all of USD servers. I would say KV1 has held that down in the past, and he did so on even worse ping than Diaz has to play with. Now, don't get me wrong. It's not easy to play with 120. We used to be able to get Diaz like 80 ping, but I guess since the new server switch, we've had a tough time getting him something good. So he is hitting 120 here on this server. 36 for Chronic. But he does make 120 look silly. Just like KV1 did with 140. But I'm about to figure out... I mean, we might as well just pause. Diaz is pretty clearly not moving. Chronic is also not playing. Unless this is just a meta change in the 1v1 game that is ahead of me. I think we have a DC of some kind. There it is. There's the DC. All right, 2-2 at what? Like 410? All right, back into it. Diaz had a game death, a dame crash. We've been streaming for a bit. A game crash. But we're back now. During the scuffle, we had to get a new server. And the server, was for a second slightly improved. 116 ping over 120. The US-7 apparently isn't as terrible as the EU-7. The US Central-7, that is. Because the EU pros absolutely hate EU-7. It's basically an insta-leave if you get into an EU-7 server. I don't know why. US Central-7, hopefully not as bad. Chronic up 4-2. These guys, actually before Chronic became active in ones again, I say active, using RLDuels.gg's rules, site that likes to track Rocket League 1v1s that I love to use as a tool. Chronic was technically inactive. I think he had to play 2 matches in the past 4 months. He'll be active now, playing in this tournament. But before, the reason why he went on active, his last match was a show match on Johnny Boy's stream against Diaz. One that I believe he won. Correct me if I'm wrong. Oh my goodness, I almost accidentally switched POVs before one of the nastiest flicks you could ever hope to see. But it was wide. Chronic does dunk it in. Yeah, game 5. It was... Wait, am I looking at the right one? I don't know, I went to Diaz's history. Let me pull up Chronic's history. Has chat already given me the right answer? Knowing them, they probably have. 7-2. Chronic off to a good start. To try and put himself in the best position to win this tournament. Diaz needs to get some offense going. Normally, that is not an issue for him. He is a very talented player, as proven by his air dribble into 50 that will get him his 3rd goal. He's got 3 minutes to make up this deficit, so the good news is he went down quickly, and he has lots of time left over. I am super confused. Was it really April? April 8th? Maybe that was the last time they played. Yeah, it looks like Chronic won 3-5 according to my RL Duels research. Or sorry, 3-5. 3-2. It was a best of 5. Diaz double bumped off the ball. And then Chronic will win, and Diaz has had enough. It is 2 minutes and 25 seconds left to go. Down 6. And he's ready to forfeit. Diaz will forfeit early. Chronic will as well, when given the opportunity, usually. So we might be in for a quick series if these guys are going to throw haymakers back and forth. Why Fear don't reset the game? Old Fear would not have reset the game because Old Fear didn't have admin mode. Or actually, he would reset the game because that would have been his only choice. And then we would have had to poor man's admin mode where we all agree to tap the ball in at 4:10 to make it 2-2. Diaz out of the Octane and into the Fennec. But one thing is always certain, and that is ka-chow. Diaz, another kickoff win. I just got done talking about how effective Chronic is in the wall to air dribble when he wins it off the kickoff. Well, he's playing against a guy who would like to make an argument that he could be even better. Although Diaz's signature has been his dribbles all the way from the back wall. Diaz, what a shot, what a save. Credit to Chronic. Diaz was dashing up and popping it to the top right. But Diaz has bounced back quickly from his forfeit and has already matched his scoring. To be fair, it was only half game that he played that he scored 3 goals. He could have ended up scoring more. But he allowed 9 and wanted to go next. Now he's matched his scoring in the first minute. Chronic challenged early off the wall and dispossessed, leading to another ka-chow. Chronic muscling in his first goal straight down the center of the field. Nice landing on the boost grab from Diaz to be ready to go right away. Power sliding into that first touch. Forcing it out to Chronic and surprising him, I think, with a bit of speed, leading to the lost 50. Now Chronic. Oh my goodness. I mean, Diaz. I talk about Chronic because it's a wall to air dribble. Diaz showing just as much power in his air dribble attack game. And now going to take it to the ground. Diaz 6-1. Oh my goodness. This has been a great tournament to watch. These players putting on a spectacle. Diaz is always fun, especially when he's firing. And it seems like he is now in game number 2. These guys sticking to the directive to make sure every series is close. No sweeps allowed. Chronic popping this one up and now not being allowed to get a clean take. Diaz just boxing him out in the air. Now full field dribble from ceiling heights. One that Diaz normally scores without having to go back down to the ground. This time he will go to the ground, and there's the next. That's what I'm talking about. If these guys continue to throw haymakers of games at each other, we could be done with the fastest best of 5 that goes to game 5 ever. We got 3 minutes left in this one. Chronic's had enough. Let's head to game 3. I mentioned this before, but oftentimes, okay. Oftentimes series will have commanding wins in game 1 and 2 for opposite players, but you don't usually see that continue the rest of the way, as these guys realize what it looks like for one another to win. The adjustments are usually made that leads to a bit of a closer series to finish it out. But I'll tell you what, if Chronic is going to be missing the ball completely on opening kickoffs, we could just see another heavy victory for Diaz. Chronic got that out ahead. Yo, thank you for the 20 bits. That's such an insane message effect. This match is wild. You're not wrong. Sky Everlast. Diaz expecting Chronic to move out to the midfield and close the distance between them. Thought maybe he could just boom it over the top in order to punish. No, he doesn't. It is also a low commit type play, as you stay in your own half prepared for anything. So Diaz back in control, gonna get a boost steal. Keeping that ball cam on to make sure he fully understands where Chronic is at, where the ball is at. The boost isn't moving. No need to turn off the ball cam to pick that up. That's the one thing that's guaranteed. Diaz denied on his kickoff attempt, but Chronic is far from out of the woods yet. Diaz going to go high, and Chronic gets the perfectly timed setup through the net. Ooh, that's not an angle. Chronic saves it. There's an opportunity to cut it back in and score. Credit to Chronic for not giving up on the play, but it's still going to be a Diaz goal. Little camera spam of frustration from Chronic. Chronic sends this one into the ceiling. And now dunking over the top of Diaz. It might just be on target already. Did need a double. Diaz there first. 7,830 bits. You need the first place for bits at least. Your content is always wild. I've been enjoying watching you grow. Saban's Rock. Thank you for the 7,830 bits. Absolutely insane donation. Has supported the stream. Also has 251 gifted subs. And just overtakes Train, who is around from old Feer days. Real old Feer days. The guy who was previously #1 in bits, who was at 39,000. Saban's Rock is now at 39,880. 10 more bits. 10 more bits. And I tell you what, Train 3816, he is quite stagnant. I don't think you're going to have to fight him very much. We haven't seen Train 3816 in a while. Thank you, thank you. Huge donation. Thank you, Saban. Chronic gonna get a third goal. 7,000 is even more than 69.69. That's the only way that you can conceptualize it. There's a bit leaderboard. Yeah, you just tap to the right of the gifted leaderboard. It takes you to the bits leaderboard. Chronic. A fake resets, and he's tied the game. This is what I'm talking about. A much more equal game, although it is definitely a boxing match with no defense, just punch after punch. Diaz, high air dribble. Chronic showed that he was going high, but kind of faked it and transitioned back low, and then was in a great position to stop Diaz as he transitioned to the ground. He went to the ceiling and instantly jumped off and did a great job recovering. He just was a little bit too far past the play. So when the shot came, he had to turn back a little bit to make the save, which means he couldn't clear it. If he landed a little bit closer to the post, then he could probably jump into the ball with momentum. And that unique defensive maneuver would have paid off. Diaz, what a landing off the flip. It didn't seem like a position where he could get such a clean air dribble, and that's what I want to focus on this play, is that flip setup. Oh, you're not really going to see it, but it was essential to getting his dribble going that quickly. Diaz reading the fake kickoff, but decided not to double down on the follow-up. Ooh, what a 50. Had Chronic flying across the ball, and Chronic left team. Okay, it's just a slight tilt thing. He didn't call next. He did not call next. But he did press start and switch teams back to blue team. You know, in a different context, maybe he would be in trouble. I don't know if RLCS cares if your team gets scored on if you switch teams back to your own team. But no harm, no foul here. And he will get his 5th goal. Chronic wall dash off the kickoff as he retreats back to the ball, trying to get speed into, could have been a demo. Nice flick. And good thing Chronic was not automatically going to the muscle memory of leaving match, because he has gotten a couple goals his way. He's got more than enough time to make up 2 goals. Diaz, fake transition to the ceiling, goes back down. What a save. Chronic positioned well for the 50, but Diaz able to guide it outside the net. Can he survive the onslaught? He does have the back corner boost, so that should be it. Diaz loves to go full field dribble, and it works out well when he has a boost advantage because it's kind of a slow play that wastes more time, and Chronic's going to drop the whoops. Try to get back, but could not, and there's the next. He doesn't want to try and stop the 3-goal lead with 40 seconds. He got a blue trail on that. I think that's mostly where the whoops came from. But we will not keep going. It'll be a Game 3 win for Diaz, as he is 1 game away from putting himself at the top of the gauntlet. And the good news is they didn't see me say that I lost admin. Game number 4. I do have pause button in case we need it. Hopefully we won't. As Diaz leads after 3 and is looking for multiple resets. He gets them, but the finish is soft, and Chronic will be the first to score. Is Diaz on the team right now? Yeah. No! I was going to say he's on Complexity, but I thought he was in the Complexity Club. And now I don't see any Complexity Club. I don't think Complexity is playing in Esports World Cup, and they're not playing at Worlds. So, you know, it shouldn't be too big of a surprise that basically everyone's going to reset over the course of 8 months or whatever. But, I mean, Complexity still have them signed? I don't know. It would not surprise me if just about everything shook up from any team that doesn't still have an event they need to play. I don't know anything behind the scenes, by the way. You guys are like acting like I leaked something. If anything, I leaked it the moment Diaz played 1 match because I revealed his club is no longer Complexity. That's the only thing I know. What you guys know. For all I know, he just left the in-game club. And he is still fully with Complexity. No news to be reported. Chronic passed it to himself off the ceiling. Diaz able to handle that, and Chronic's going to turtle while Diaz brings himself within 1. Great save from Chronic. Everybody in 1v1 nowadays doing such a good job of not just saving but prepping for that in and outs counterattack. Diaz, multiple reset, perfect placement, and Chronic just covers it. So shout out to him, and a little wall dash to make sure he has the speed to beat Diaz to the other side. Great bit of defense gets rewarded for Chronic. And a kickoff win will make it 5-2. Are we headed to a Game 5 decider for the winner of pool play and the person who will defend the gauntlet from the top? Nothing comes of Chronic's attempt to look for a ambitious double. He is going to let Chronic clear the ball across the net for him. Doesn't seem to be too worried about starving Chronic out. He's going to let him grab the 100 boost. Ooh! Chronic was looking for a psycho. He wanted the full field psycho off of his back wall. Instead, oh wait. No, he will get scored on. Another direct kickoff goal for Chronic. Diaz maybe needs to start rethinking his approach to these. Standard kickoff. Moving to the right, trying to win it left. Another kickoff that goes for Chronic as he gets an interesting reset in the defensive half. That ball can be a tough one to maneuver out, but still don't think the way Chronic decided to do it was necessarily the right choice. Yes, his dunk did not go in, and he tried to greet it out. I'm actually really surprised he did. It's such an orthodox play that he was probably just hoping it was so unexpected he might get it to work, but with the ball glued to the back wall, assuming the defender doesn't just leave for some reason, they're going to be able to easily clear it. Diaz. Reset 50, my goodness. Just so much power on the touches. He's able to play it so quickly. I mean, Chronic, we watched it from his defensive perspective. It's like kind of clear what Diaz is trying to set up, but by the time he's got the dribble going, Chronic cannot react in time. Gets dunked by Diaz. Now 2 minutes, Diaz swinging wide for what certainly is going to be another air dribble, knowing him. But I thought maybe he'd actually power shoot it because he seemed so clearly setting up an air dribble. Maybe he'd try and mix it up by just ripping a power shot. Minute 32. Diaz actually in a decent position right now because he has control of the ball. So he can take 45 seconds or so to score or less. And then he's got a lot more time to get the final goal. Chronic is going to drop a whoops. I think it was a bit of a feels backflip here. Yeah, it should just be a double jump. But the feels backflip allows Diaz to score. And Diaz instantly wins another kickoff and does not take it in the air. Wave dashes it back down to the ground, and it's a tie game. With a minute 18 seconds left to go, he almost tied it up too fast. Momentum has been in his favor. But now there's enough time for anything to happen. Chronic at ceiling height sees Diaz up there. Gonna just reset again, but he missed the dash into setting up another dribble. And now he's gonna have to defend on very little. He makes the first save, but he's not out of the woods. Oh, Diaz got greedy. Chronic missed, but he should be able to follow this up. Can't imagine a world where he doesn't get a goal from this. Diaz, that first touch is just ultra greedy. That's a score now, cut in field, punish Chronic for going for boost type play, but that's not what Chronic did. Diaz stopped on his kickoff attempt. Now Chronic, a pretty aggressive play with the clock under a minute left to go. and himself in the lead, but Kronic's never been one to back down, and he's always felt good about his aerial game. Really heavy touch to around ceiling heights and flies back up there to get his reset. Now a 2-goal lead. Wave dash kickoff. Kronic is going to rely on his offense to close out the game. Diaz with a big boost advantage, but Kronic is just a dashing maniac in order to buy himself a ton of time. It's still going to be a Diaz possession, but he's forced the ball all the way to the orange back wall, and he continues to be a thorn in Diaz's side. He will not let him get a clean possession, and now pulling back off the reset. It'll be a side flip. Actually does get stopped. Doesn't matter, though. It's going to take 6 full seconds just for Diaz to get over there if he even does score. Kronic will be able to put one on in style. 9-6. Game 5. Pool play will be decided by 1 game of Rocket League. Coming up next. We tried Champions Field for a game 5 earlier, and I don't know, I didn't love it for 1v1. I think we're gonna stay in Manfield. Game 5, a $400 matchup, or you could argue $300, because whoever loses this one will be guaranteed at worst 3rd, which they will get $100. So the differential in terms of guaranteed money, $300 on the line, but most importantly, the top position on the gauntlet where you can defend it to get 1,000. These guys wanted to walk away with that. Diaz has the first possession of this game and pulls back into a reset on the 50, which allows him to keep possession going. And Kronic, good defensive approach, forcing Diaz to use that flip in order to play keep away and not score, but Diaz is too good. He eventually finds his opportunity. Never going all in on any aerial play. Seems to be able to stay in control of the play. Takes him a little bit less than a minute, but he's got the 1-goal lead. Kronic, impressive shot considering the first touch was kind of hard to deal with to get out to midfield. The catch and play off the ground was a good improvisation, but Diaz still had that save. Diaz wants a demo. Kronic avoids it. And pretty aggressive follow-up. Diaz certainly going to get there faster if he does get up to clear it, but Kronic almost just kind of gambling that he might not. Nice mix-up on pace from Diaz here. Doesn't take it on this first opportunity to shoot. Kronic slows down, decides to turn and challenge, and just gets thrown off of what would have otherwise been a in stride type save. Diaz, big kickoff win. These guys have gotten better at defending each other, though. Diaz just rushing the ball as he gets a boost in the back corner. It works out if you are fast enough, but if you do that even a moment later, it's so easy to get faked. Kronic this time recognizes Diaz is playing all the way back into net, so he can just double jump and take him out of the map. Diaz wall dash to try and catch a demo. Whoa, interesting dash from Kronic. I don't know if that was intentional or not. He kind of dashed himself out of the way. Pre-jump from Kronic, back down to the ground. Diaz will slow roll it in. Diaz has been playing so much through the air, it shouldn't be too surprising that Kronic is trying to get ahead of that. But after pre-jumping, Diaz brought the ball close enough that Kronic had to boost backwards in order to get to it, so he can't really get momentum into his clear. Even though he does get a touch, it's never going to be meaningful. Chronic. Ooh. So close to being able to finish it off. Over halfway, 2-goal lead for Diaz. Diaz loves resetting possession. Chronic is trying to pre-jump these aerials, but hasn't been working too well. Pre-jump this one. And Diaz just goes back down to the ground. Almost trying to land on it to 50 it, the back end of his car. But that does not seem to be the answer. 69 bits. Chronic used to complain about irritable bumps. Chronic used to chat a lot more in game. But it's been a while from those early days. And Chronic, nice pop to make Diaz miss, but he also couldn't really get back to the ball. No longer will we see any earlier forfeits probably from either one of these guys. They're going to be forced to fight it out if it's at all possible. No more games left. Chronic knows Diaz is going to have to leave here. He knows he has the boost advantage after taking the midfield. It's going to be a double jump bump. Diaz gets around it. Just such a slow dribble that Diaz can get the read and make sure to get the save. It's going to be GG's, and Diaz is out of here quick, so we never get to get him pogo. Diaz will be your champion of the pool play. He will sit at the top of the gauntlet with a guaranteed $400, even if he does happen to not defend it. Chronic will sit right below him. Wavy will attempt to run the gauntlet tomorrow. He's going to have to beat Jack, then First Killer, then Chronic, then Diaz if he wants to take the first place prize. It all ends tomorrow on this channel.